and sent in troops to occupy Boston. The idea was to make an example out of Massachusetts to scare the other colonies into line. But it completely backfired. All it did was unite the colonies against them and light the final fuse for war. So picture this. It's April 1775. British soldiers march out of Boston to seize a stash of rebel weapons. On the town green in Lexington, they run into a small group of local militia. Tensions are high. Someone fires a shot. We still don't know who. And in the chaos that follows, 8 colonists are killed. That was it. There was no going back. The war had begun.
But the day was not over, not by a long shot. As the British soldiers marched back to Boston, they discovered that the entire countryside had risen up against them. Militiamen from all over the area were hiding behind trees, behind stone walls, firing on the British column. By the time the Redcoats finally staggered back into Boston, they'd lost 73 men, with hundreds more wounded. It was an absolute shock.
And just listen to this quote from a British soldier who was there. It gives you a real sense of the nightmare they walked into. That 16-mile retreat turned into a running gun battle, a brutal gauntlet. You have the most professional army in the world being picked apart by farmers and blacksmiths. It was a shocking wake-up call that this was going to be a whole new kind of war. Okay, so with blood spilled on both sides, everything changed. This wasn't about taxes anymore. It was a real war. So delegates from all the colonies gathered in Philadelphia. Their job? To organize an army, a continental army. And even more radical, they started talking about something that would have been unthinkable just a year earlier, creating a brand new nation. So who do you get to lead this new army? They picked a wealthy planter from Virginia named George Washington. And Washington, he was a shrewd operator. He knew what he was doing. He showed up to Congress every single day wearing a full military uniform. Picking him was a brilliant political move. It sent a clear message. This wasn't just some Boston squabble anymore. This was an American cause.
You know, what's amazing is that even in early 1776, the idea of completely breaking away from England was still pretty radical for a lot of folks. And then this little 46-page pamphlet comes out, called Common Sense. The author, Thomas Paine, just lays it all out in plain, powerful language. It's time to part ways. And the book was an absolute sensation. It sold the modern equivalent of 20 million copies. It completely shifted public opinion, almost overnight.
So riding this huge wave of popular support, the Continental Congress gave Thomas Jefferson the job of writing a formal declaration. And the words he came up with, they were revolutionary. They laid out these incredible ideals of liberty and equality that would become the very foundation of this new nation. Of course, there was a massive, glaring contradiction at the heart of it all. Jefferson, the man who wrote that all men are created equal, owned slaves. And that was a problem the new nation just decided to kick down the road.
Look, declaring your independence